Hi everyone, if you're new around here, my name is Paula and welcome back to another trading journal entry. In the last recap, I mentioned that I had been trading futures. Ever since that last video, I mentioned that I wasn't feeling very confident with understanding how it works and it didn't really fit kind of my style because watching futures literally required me to be looking at the chart pretty much the whole day in order for me to know the best time to get out. So there wasn't as much planning as I wanted. So I officially decided to switch to trading options. For the first week of trading options, I had created a couple of shorts, so you can take a look at those if you wanted to see how I performed my first week. But today I wanted to talk to you guys about what happened this week. So this week, as you guys know, we had a shorter week since we had Memorial Day weekend. So at the top of the week this week, I traded Hood, Apple, and I believe Uber. So here we have Hood and my bias was to go long. And as you can see, I've already had my entry lines and my price targets pointed out here. At market open, it started very optimistic. It was obviously at a green and it already hit a very high candle. However, it started going back down towards the end of that 5 minute. For whatever reason, I didn't wait for confirmation to get a better entry, but nonetheless, I did enter at about 5 minutes after market open. So the first candle that I entered into, the candle went right below the SMA already and started dumping, and it was already underneath the cloud. So not feeling very good about this right now. However, I decided to hold it, and I pretty much held it throughout the day because it kind of danced around my entry line, not making any more progress towards the price target. So for day one, I decided to hold Hood. Now moving over to Wednesday, the 29th, market opened on the downside, which was not very promising. However, it looks like we had a rebound in about half an hour in, looking pretty good over here, and then started dancing back around again. And the cloud is now above my trend as well as the SMA. However, I still had faith and I decided that if I'm going to close, I'm going to do it closer to the end of the day. And it was slowly giving me some hope around 2 hours before market close. And it finally made it back above the SMA line and above the cloud. Ended the day pretty strong on day two. So I once again decided to hold since I still haven't broken past my price target. Day three looking even better, and we have some really strong bull flags already forming up here, so I was feeling pretty good at this point. We reached a nice high point here around 2 hours in. Now I'm feeling a bit bolder and want to shoot for price target 2 since we've already actually passed price target 1 right at open, which is a great position to be in. But the SMA and the cloud just kind of floated around this high point here, and it never really broke past it. I saw that this candle was starting to get rejected and I figured that it was going to go down. So I decided to jump out and close this position. The good news is I was still up 42%. And this made me a profit of $40.50. So really not bad for Hood, and I held that one for 2 days. For the next one, I had Uber. Uber, my bias was to short. Once I saw that it was slowly hitting consistently on my entry line, even though it is already past entry, I decided to open my position. It was looking pretty good for the day. It stayed within the SMA, nothing too major the first day. I decided to hold it, and here we are at the second day. Things are starting to look a little different. The trend has now reversed and Uber has been going up. So I watched to see if it was going to come back down to the entry line. However, it just kept going bullish since we had this really strong bullish flag over here. Eventually, about half an hour before market close, I decided to just call it quits and close this at a loss. Next up, I have Apple, and for Apple, my bias was to go long. Market opened on Tuesday looking optimistic. We got two strong green candles right here. However, I should have seen the SMA line and the cloud as an indicator that this wasn't going to last very long. I did, however, enter into a position 5 minutes at market open as I was very optimistic about my setup. So I decided to hold it all the way, and actually I don't have much updates for Apple because market was kind of weird for the last couple of days, and I feel like Apple is one of those that didn't really move too much. It never really dipped below my entry line, nor did it hit my price target, and today I'm sitting with it still kind of the same as yesterday. So I'm actually still holding this position. to see if it will go one way or another. At this point, I'd be happy to see if it hits price target 1. So that's where Apple is sitting. For the last trade of the week, I had CPNG, which I opened a position with yesterday. And my bias for CPNG was also to go long. CPNG started really strong with really strong candles again. But I learned my lesson from Apple, and that is not to trade within the first 15 minutes. So I did just that. I waited until 15 minutes after the market opens to see if there was an indication of a pullback. So since I saw these two green candles confirm that it was going to go up, and I waited for a pullback at this time, even though I was already above my entry line, I decided to open a position, and it slowly crept up past my price target, which is good. However, since I was already above my entry line to the price target, it wasn't really a huge profit, but I was up, so that was nice. And as you can see, the great thing with CPNG is that it actually did hit a new all-time high just from this green candle here, and then even another one right after that. This is pretty much where the fairy tale ends with CPNG. However, because as we've hit this new high of the day, it just kept going down. And not only did I not see it rebound back up to even try to break past this high point, it just kept going down up until the end of the day, and even more so today. So I decided to hold CPNG overnight, and it was looking hopeful in the morning. However, not too much more hopeful because the SMA and the cloud were not looking optimistic. I would have been break even up here, and that's pretty much the highest of the day today. So I watched it pretty much keep going down until eventually I did get stopped out with CPNG. So looking back, I definitely should have just closed profits up here, and that would have been better than being stopped out, obviously. But because my logic at the time was, because this high was only 20 cents before my next price target, I was hopeful that it was going to get there again. However, now I'm learning that I have to set better rules within my price target as far as how far up I should be taking profits. So definitely something that I learned with this trade. Overall, looking back, I do feel a lot better with trading options. I feel like I have a bit more understanding of how to look at everything. Now I'm getting more confident with making the calls, with determining my entries and price targets and stop losses, which I think was something that I could never do with futures before. And of course, as someone who hasn't been doing this for very long, I'm sure there's still a lot for me to learn. My next goal is to get a little bit more fluency with the language, because as you guys have probably noticed, I don't get too sophisticated with my vocabulary when I'm describing my plays, because I don't know what everything is called yet. So I do want to understand the terminology, which I feel like is just something that's going to happen over time. So hopefully I'll pick that up soon. But for now, I'm pretty happy with my understanding of options, and I think I am going to stick to this style. If you guys are still sticking around here, if you guys want to check out our watch lists, I've been posting them daily on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. So I'm basically just having it available for anyone who wants to see it. So if you guys ever want to check those out and follow along, I will leave the links in the description down below. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next Trading Journal entry.